We begin with a general discussion on propaganda. According to Harold D. Lasswell, propaganda is the management of collective attitudes by the manipulation of significant symbols. Edward L. Bernays says, modern propaganda is a consistent, enduring effort to create or shape events to influence the relations of the public to the enterprise, idea, or group. The World War I led to an unprecedented expansion, especially of military propaganda. All the warring parties were convinced that the fight by psychological means was as important as the one with military weapons. Hence, all major military powers created their own institutions of propaganda for this purpose. Propaganda is of three types. White propaganda, which is the open distribution of information regarded as true. The grey propaganda, statements of doubtful quality, which avoid identification of the source of the information. And black propaganda, consisting of lies whose source is concealed and the primary aim is deception. Harold Lasswell's 1928 study, Propaganda Technique in the World War, distinguished four major aims of military propaganda. Firstly, to mobilize hatred against the enemy. Secondly, to preserve the friendship of allies. Thirdly, to preserve the friendship and, if possible, to procure the cooperation of the neutrals. And fourthly, to demoralize the enemy. Herman and Chomsky's propaganda model focuses on the inequality of wealth and power and its multi-level effects on mass media interests and choices. It traces the routes by which money and power are able to filter out the news fit to print, marginalize dissent, and manufacture consent. Media primarily sells its readers and subscribers to advertisers according to this model. The news is passed through 5 filters. The filters make the news different from its original form by determining what events are newsworthy, how these events are covered, and how much coverage they receive. The essential ingredients of Herman and Chomsky's model are 5 news filters. These interact with and reinforce one another. They are: number 1, the size, concentrated ownership, owner wealth, and profit orientation of the dominant mass media firms. 2, advertising as the primary income source of the mass media. 3, the reliance of the media on information provided by government, business, and experts funded and approved by these primary sources and agents of power. 4, flak as a means of disciplining the media. And 5, anti-communism as a national religion and control mechanism. The elite domination of the media and marginalization of dissidents that results from these filters occurs so naturally that journalists are able to convince themselves that they choose and interpret the news objectively and on the basis of professional news values. Within the limits of the filter constraints, the journalists often are objective. However, the constraints are so powerful and are built into the system in such a fundamental way that alternative bases of news choices are hardly imaginable. The ownership filter. Media outlets are usually large corporations. They have to protect the interests of the corporations. News goes through a process of self-censorship. Any news that serves the interest of the corporation is encouraged, while any news that could harm the interests is filtered out. Advertising. The survival and growth of the media organizations depend on advertisement revenues. The media have to keep in mind the economic, political, and social imperatives of the advertisers. This is reflected in the news content as well. The dependence on advertisement revenue is a systemic constraint. The mass media are drawn into a symbiotic relationship with powerful official sources of information, more by economic necessity. Government and corporate sources are easily recognizable. Journalists regard an official's claim to knowledge not merely as a claim, but as a credible, competent piece of knowledge. Taking information from sources that may be presumed credible reduces journalistic investigative expense. The magnitude of the public information operations of large government and corporate bureaucracies, this is huge and ensures special access to the media as well. This serves as a primary news source. Flak refers to negative responses to media content. It may be in the form of letters, phone calls, petitions, lawsuits, speeches, and other modes of complaint, threat, and punitive action. It may be organized centrally or locally, or it may consist of entirely independent actions of individuals. If flak is produced on a large scale by groups with substantial resources, it can be uncomfortable and costly to the media. The ability to produce such flak is related to power. The powerful can also work on the media indirectly by complaining to their stakeholders and advertisers. Chomsky and Herman describe anti-communism as a national religion and control mechanism. This filter helps to mobilize citizens against a common enemy while portraying the opponents of being in alliance with the enemy. They say communism as the ultimate evil has always been the spectre haunting property owners. Propaganda campaigns are closely attuned to elite interests. It will not be mobilized where victimization, even though massive and sustained, fails to meet elite interests. Unworthy victims will merit only slight detail, minimal humanization, and little context that will excite and enrage. The propaganda model does not apply to societies where the manufacture of consent is not necessary for the maintenance of a capitalist order, according to this model. Alternative media outlets provide information which differs significantly from mainstream contents. Another alternative is peace journalism. Thanks for staying along, friends. As always, it was a delight having you here. I'll be back with another video very soon. Till then, have a great time.